importante, así que se trata pues de respetar a los demás y porque todos tenemos diferentes, venimos de diferentes lugares y tenemos diferentes historias, así que es como de respetar a cuando el otro habla.
And today what we're talking about is what is food justice in Bridgeport.
Entonces lo que vamos a hablar hoy es de qué se trata la justicia alimentaria en Bridgeport.
So I'm going to play a short video, and after that we can continue with our conversation.
Entonces van a poner un video y después de eso seguimos conversando.
We started out as a family farm. We knew that we wanted to grow food for our neighbors. We're living in the south end of Albany, which is the USDA terms it a food desert neighborhood. We prefer to talk about food apartheid because deserts are natural phenomenon, and racism in the food system is very unnatural. We're talking to our neighbors about it. We got a lot of encouragement to start a farm and then to do doorstep delivery in that neighborhood. So that's how it started. There was demand for training programs that were culturally sensitive for Black and Latino folks, so we kind of developed that. So I feel like we're very much in conversation with the movement and in conversation with our community. The movement for Black Lives is very much about ending police-sanctioned violence against our people, against Black and brown people. So we know about police brutality and murder, and we know about mass incarceration. That's all over the news, and it should be. It's really important. But a lot of times what falls away from the conversation is that the top 5 killers for Black and Latino people in the United States are diet-related illness. And that's not accidental. There's all these policies in place that are state-created that cause this disconnect between Black folks and good food. And similarly, over our history, our access to land has very much been influenced by US policy, USDA discrimination, by violence from the Ku Klux Klan that targeted Black landowners. In the early 1900s was the peak of Black land ownership. In the 1910 census, Black folks owned and operated about 14% of US farms. And that was, at a higher percentage than we made up in the population. And so there was a long time throughout history when the most likely occupation you'd find an African-American person would be farming, and now that's the least likely. Many of our people have confused the oppression that took place on land with the land itself. And so there's a lot of ancestral, almost cellular trauma that's associated with wild spaces and with land. The truth is that we do all belong to land, and we have a right, to belong to land and reclaim agency in the food system, but there's a healing process that needs to happen. And part of that is knowing our history. It's not so much that we are stepping into this white good food movement, that this has always been our movement, and that history has done its best job to alienate us from land and to tell us that we don't belong and it's not our story, but it's always been our story. And so it's been important for us to find those anecdotes and evidence of the strength of our people related to land and uplift them. Fannie Lou Hamer's cooperative movement is, now everyone's talking about cooperatives, but that's not new. She was figuring out how to pool money to get kids into college and to buy a new tractor and to pay for people's burial expenses and share land and share barns, a long time ago.
So that was a short clip, and I'm going to hand it back over to Pat.
All right. And basically we talked about food justice and a little bit about food injustice. So I guess I wanted to kick it off just by asking everyone in the call, what does food justice or injustice look like to them, and maybe their personal experience with handling
it. Entonces vamos a empezar a hablar. Primero es acerca de justicia alimentaria y y también injusticia alimentaria. Entonces, aquí Patrick quiere saber para nosotros qué es justicia alimentaria e injusticia alimentaria.
What do you guys see in your community in Bridgeport? What does food justice look like? Let's start there. What does food justice look like in Bridgeport?
Para ustedes, ¿qué es justicia alimentaria en Bridgeport? You're asking to anybody in Spanish?
Yeah. Everyone can talk.
Anybody can speak?
Yeah.
Okay. Entonces, el que quiera puede hablar para él qué es justicia alimentaria en Bridgeport. Who wants to start?
I can start. So for me, food justice in Bridgeport looks like the beautiful farmers we have today on the call who are growing things in their community gardens. That's food justice to me.
Para Ofi, la justicia alimentaria es lo que está pasando hoy en este chat, o sea, viendo a la gente que está hoy acá, los jardineros que están acá hoy reunidos, eso para ella esto es justicia alimentaria en Bridge.
Okay, for me, it looks like a way for me to give back to what I grew up poor. I in a rich town, and we had got leftover foods and food from the pantries and such, and I was able to pull out of that, and I make a good living, and I always had good food because my mother always gardened. And for me, I can give back and volunteer to help people make their happily ever after.
Para Debbie, ella creció pobre en un barrio rico y le tocaba pues comer cosas pues como que le regalaban comida, y para ella es importante pues tener un jardín y poder ir a recoger la comida de ese jardín. Para ella eso es justicia alimentaria.
For me, I'm writing for Jaime directly in the shop.
For Maria, she just sent me a text, and it says it means that everybody has a right to have the green gardens available to grow organic food, so that there is organic gardens around the city to grow food. That's what is food justice for Maria.
For me, as a school teacher, food justice looks like my students having the ability to take gardening to their backyard, and re-envisioning what gardening can look like, because I mean, especially during this pandemic, a lot of my kids are stuck in houses, but there's possibilities there's options. So food justice would be getting some of those options into their very hands where they live.
For Amy, para Amy, la justicia alimentaria en Bridgeport, ella es una maestra de escuela. Para ella es muy importante que sus estudiantes puedan utilizar los jardines, pues, o sea, los pocos pedazos de tierra que hay detrás de las casas, para poder cultivar algo y aprender acerca de la comida, de dónde viene la comida. Who's next?
Anybody else?